That was nice.
Thanks, buddy.
It's iconic.
Just press the damn button, nerd.
What's up, Robert Pena?
Mark Salter, Ashton. What's up, Ashton? Raider
what's up,
Rude,
buddy?
B. Al. CPA Joel.
What's up, Joel?
P-O-L.
Michelle.
Hey.
Michelle, I promise I will move your seat back to where the level it was.
She gonna show up and whip your ass. For
Yeah, with a
sitting in her
cookie
seat.
tin?
Yeah.
Oops. On the wrong account.
What's up, Lee B? Hi, Vibrator. High hands, low booty salute. What's up, baby? Hey, let's talk about the Raiders.
Let's do that.
All right, here it is, episode number 287 of Raiders Fan Radio.
Hey, it's Mike Garafolo, NFL Network here in the home office, and you are listening to the Raiders Fan Radio podcast, taking that lighter journey into the dark side with Murf, Swag Jeff, and Michelle. She's got great hair. It's a little pink, it's a little purple, whatever it is. I'll tell you what, if I could grow it, I would sign up for that color today. So listen to her and the entire crew as they give you all the information on the Raiders on the podcast that benefits the One Nation Foundation. It's a great cause. It's a great pod. Tune in, turn it up. Here it comes. All that Raiders info and takes coming at you right now.
Jackpot, baby. Raiders Fan Radio.
Oakland, LA, Oakland, Vegas, Raider Nation, wherever, forever. You got your old Uncle Mosh and Raiders Fan Radio from Murph's Man Cave, taking a lighter journey into the dark side. Sit back, put your feet up, pop a top, and enjoy the ride. Here we go!
Look left, look right, Bolitnikov, a leaping pass, touchdown!
We miss you, we love you, and we'll see you in the Hall of Fame.
When you have great coaches, then after you have great coaches, you get great players, you have a great organization, and you tell them one thing, just win, baby.
Way up the middle, intercepted Filipiano at the 50, time running down, Oakland football, and I think Oakland victory.
The Oakland Raiders have scored on the most zany, unbelievable, absolutely impossible dream of a play. Well, I love this team. I think this team can win.
You are listening live to Raiders Fan Radio. Take it away, guys.
Why, thank you, Brent Musburger. What is up, Raider Nation? Your buddy Murph back once again for what we trust will be a fantastic episode of Raiders Fan Radio as we barrel into day 2 of the 2023 NFL Draft. Let's go.
Fired up.
Let's go, man. It should be fun. So we were just talking about it before the show started that like day 2 of the draft is one of our favorite days, and especially when the Raiders have all the picks that they do. Of course, we have the second rounder, which is pick 38. Then in round 3, we have the 70th pick and the 100th pick, which is a special compensatory pick from the Chiefs through the from the Chiefs through the Giants. And I guess that's because of Darren Waller, right?
It is.
There you go.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. So, anyway, so good stuff there. So, look forward to chatting with you guys, talking a little bit about the Raiders, what they're going to do in the second round. Not that we're big draft speculators, but there are some good players still left out there. We're going to get into that. We're going to get into Tyree Wilson. We're going to talk about that young man and what he brings to the table, and just kind of take you into the start of the draft. And then we're going to come back on. We're going to pop on. Every time the Raiders do a pick, we're going to pop on like 5 to 10 minutes before they pick, and then ride with you, and we'll react with everybody all together, and so hopefully not have tears in our beers, but hopefully react positively because the Raiders will continue to draft wisely. I don't know. So anyways, don't do this show alone. I got a 3-man booth tonight, and excited to welcome in the guys. And so first off, let me go ahead and throw it over to the man that adorns the western annex of the Murf's Fan Cave desk. He is my best friend and yours. He is Swag Jeff.
Here's style and then profile.
What up, Swaggo?
Woo, man, I am so fired up.
Damn
man.
right you are.
My gosh, I love this time of year. I think I said it last week. The draft is kind of like Christmas to us, right? You know, because we get all our new presents, right? So yeah, I'm fired up. Last night was awesome. I dipped into the sauce a little bit. I got a little bit drunky last night.
A little bit.
Nice.
Yeah, it was pretty toasty.
Jeff goes, I'm going up into my bonus room, or into my sports room there, and I'm going up there with a handle of tequila. Or no, with a handle of Tito's.
Yeah.
A handle of Tito's. And he goes, and I'm go ahead, you
And
say
I
it.
did. And I did, yeah. And I was like, yeah, I'm just going to go up there and just get blasted and watch the draft.
By yourself.
Just by myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, I put the kids to bed.
Do we need to have an intervention?
No. It was a cool night, man. It was fun.
From what I remember.
Yeah. Well, I saw the Raiders pick.
That's all you needed to see.
That's all I needed to see.
That's all you need to
But
see.
It was pretty early in the night, but
Oh,
yeah,
my gosh.
but yeah, the other voice you hear right there. So we don't do this show alone.
No.
So for our special draft show, we brought in the expert. Man.
Gotta have an expert,
Gotta
man.
have an expert, man. So the southern annex to the western annex to the Murph's Fan Cave desk. Please welcome in our buddy QBJ.
Appreciate it, guys.
What's up, QB Jeff?
I don't know about expert, but I'll do my best. Do my best here to analyze what we got. As long as we stay away from Will Levis, I will be a happy man.
Absolutely.
Stay away.
Well, and you're very humble in your presentation there, Jeff. But listen, you are a former quarterback of a Division I school, MTSU, the Blue Raiders. Shout out Blue Raiders. You're a former quarterback. You are the all-time passing leader for Alameda High School in Alameda, California. You went on to play at Laney College in Oakland. You do a podcast called The Group of Five Guys with you and some of your former teammates, and you guys are experts on the Group of Five schools, the smaller schools, the schools where guys like Max Crosby come from.
Absolutely.
And so you are an expert in this, and so we appreciate you joining us tonight. And we're going to lean into your opinion because, like we talk about all the time, Jeff and I do. We're not experts on these college players, man. I mean, I know enough to be dangerous because I watch football on Saturdays, but you guys are in this. You're living in it. Week in, week out, day in, day out. And so, look forward to hearing what you have to say about some of these younger guys.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you look at two of our top players on our roster right now, Max Crosby and Devontae Adams, both Group of Five guys. So
There you go.
There you go.
you can
Boom.
find some really good talent in the mid to late rounds, and I think that's where the Raiders can do the most damage this year. And we went down to the Senior Bowl this year, so got to see guys from the Power Five and the Group of Five kind of practice and play out there. So some good talent. Now we just got to pray that McDaniels and crew make the right decisions here.
I know, right? So far, so good, though.
I was just about to say that. So far, so good.
Yeah.
man.
Let's go and jump in. Let's just jump right into it because we're gonna run into the draft a little bit, but we're not gonna do a full 2-hour show or nothing.
Sure.
We'll probably be here for an hour with you or something, Raider Nation. Got a few things to talk about, but so yeah, let's just jump into it. Last night, the big news: Tyree Wilson, comes out of Texas Tech.
Yep.
Now, what I kindly refer to our defensive line as the all arms team. Because between him and Max Crosby, they are,
Yeah.
I mean, talk about wingspan. We're going to win that battle every day. But anyways, let's talk about the big pick.
No kidding, man. Yeah, so Texas Tech, man, Red Raider becomes Silver and Black Raider. Tyree Wilson,
nice.
loved the pick. I was all about it. There's going to be people that are going to bitch about it no matter what.
Of course.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and there was plenty of our Big Raider Trucker came out to play. He's sad sack Big Raider Trucker once again. So and that's okay, but yeah, I was fired up for the pick. I love it. 86-inch wingspan. We were talking right before we went live that so he is wider. His arm span is taller or bigger than Shaquille O'Neal.
Yep.
and he is wider than a Ford F-150, and his wingspan is only 1 inch shorter than Andre the Giant.
That's insane.
Oh my gosh, are you serious?
Freaking massive, dude. So
That's
yeah,
insane.
so we got a great pick. I'm fired up for it. And tell us kind of what that means about Chandler Jones and stuff like that, because we talked about that a little bit last night.
Yeah, I got 2 theories on why they went this direction. First and foremost, what I love about it is they didn't go, the popular route where let's go offense when we have questions. Jimmy Garoppolo at the quarterback position, he has not lasted a full season in a handful of them. So them going defense to me and going defensive line specifically tells me one thing. A, they know that Chandler Jones is not the Chandler Jones we used to have. And B, it adds depth to that offensive line because Wilson can play outside, and he was very effective inside last year for Texas Tech.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, because he's big, he's strong, and he has those long arms. So you get him on a stubbier guard, and this is in college in the Big Ten. So NFL offensive linemen are a little bit bigger, but you get him on a smaller guy on the inside. He's just bull rushing guards back into the quarterback and creating havoc on the inside. So this is what I think they'll do. I think they're going to try and see what Chandler Jones has on the outside, possibly use Wilson on the inside to create some pressure, do some stunts.
Isn't that when that was kind of the theory behind Cleve Farrell too, right?
Yeah.
That was what
That's
the
why they
idea
moved
was,
him.
that he could kick inside as well, right? So I didn't realize that about Tyree Wilson.
Yeah, but I mean, because one of his knocks is they're not sure in the NFL. He's not the twitchiest guy. He doesn't have the fastest get off on the snap. So they're not sure how against NFL tackles he can bend that edge and get around. But if Chandler Jones can be somewhat productive, more than he was last year, because let's be honest, he didn't do much at all last year. But you put Wilson possibly on the inside in that 4-man front with Chandler Jones on the outside, both of those guys should get a one-on-one matchup in pass sets, you would think, because they're going to double what they did last year with running backs chipping Max Crosby, because you're not going to leave him one-on-one.
Right.
So both of those guys should theoretically have a one-on-one matchup against a guard or a tackle. One of those guys has got to win. Now, if Chandler Jones really can't do anything, then I see them, moving possibly Wilson to the outside, maybe using Bilal Nichols or one of the other guys that we got last year kind of late in the middle. But I'm interested to see what they do. We got a couple options with them, which I think is a good thing. We have a couple spots to fit them in. But as far as physicality, 6'6", 271 pounds. I mean, you talked about that wingspan, Swago. That is huge when you're talking about getting offensive linemen on skates, as we call them, because you can have your hands, and once you get your hands on them, you're controlling them wherever you want. You know what I mean? Especially in pass sets. So that's a huge key for him, and hopefully it pays dividends because we need some pressure up front.
Absolutely. Well, it's interesting. You mentioned the versatility, and that's one of the things that's kind of been a hallmark of this regime and what they're doing with adding players. They want players to be able to play multiple positions. So it's really interesting that you brought that up, that they want, whether it's if you draft an offensive lineman, you want to have somebody that can play in more than one position. Same thing here with the defensive lineman. And one of the things that a lot of us were thinking cornerback, right? We were thinking it was going to be Christian Gonzalez, especially once we saw
Witherspoon was off the board.
Witherspoon came off the board, and in fact, maybe we could even see like a Joey Porter today. I think that's still on the hit list or the punch card of the things that we want to add in terms of assets to the defense. But isn't it interesting? And you know this better than anybody, Jeff. Like I always say, like when you build an NFL roster, you have to start with the franchise quarterback. Number one is the most important position on the field. Right after that is a pass rusher or an edge rusher to go get after the other team's franchise quarterback. After that, you need a tackle because you got to have somebody to block the other rusher to get to your franchise quarterback. And it kind of cascades down from there. So we really addressed in my opinion, the second most important position on the football field. And even though we didn't address the secondary right away anyways, and we all have a feeling we will tonight, a pass rush, an effective pass rush. If Max Crosby and and Tyree Wilson and Chandler Jones, if they're getting home and creating, what do we really? I mean, I know Patrick Mahomes is a genius and a wizard when it comes to off base throws and off time and off. I get all that kind of stuff, but how did they freaking lose in the Super Bowl a couple years ago? They got beat up. The Buccaneers got after him, and I think that's essential for because no matter what, we got to remember this. Like when we're building our football team, it's to beat the Chiefs.
Yeah.
It starts there, and then everything else falls into place after that. Do you think, in your opinion, that this was like, am I tracking there?
No, you're
okay?
100% tracking. And the best friend to cornerbacks and safeties are an effective pass rush. Because if you can throw off that timing, make these quarterbacks throw a half a second earlier than they want to, now receivers aren't into their break. Now, he might have missed a rolling safety when he got the ball, and now he's got to get it out. So, yeah, absolutely. If you can get pressure on a quarterback, and you got Herbert, you got Mahomes, Wilson, I mean, you got to get to those guys. Those are the bread and butter of those teams. They're the best players on the field for those teams. I don't know about Wilson, but the other two. But I'm with you 100%. It makes the secondary's job so much easier when the quarterback cannot sit back there, diagnose what the defense is in, and throw it and pick you apart. And we had no pressure last year other than the times that Max got home. But Max is fighting up against a double team every time, and that's what you do against the top pass rusher. You chip him with a back, you put a tight end to his side, and he's got to go the long route to get there. You have to have somebody on the other side or in the middle that can get pressure. So I love the pick, and I think there's plenty enough DBs that we can get in the second or third round. I think we go it in the second round. I hope we do, because there's still a lot of good guys, longer guys out on the edges that can play and can cover. But no, I thought when this pick came through, it was very smart, it was very calculated, and I loved it.
All right, so Swaggo, when you look at the corners that are left, and I'm going to kind of put you on the spot here.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got Joey Porter Jr., I think. So when you look at the top 25 guys, so I got the list of 25 guys here that are still available, and there are 4 really good corners left. You got Joey Porter Jr., of course, at the top of the list. Tyree Stevenson out of Miami. You got Julius Brents out of K-State, and then Keely Ringo, who seems to be like a kind of a crowd favorite for Georgia. So I'm going to ask you, do you think the Raiders go corner here in the second, and which one of those guys, and you don't have to give me a why or nothing, we're not breaking down film here, but just give me an idea of what you're vibing with there.
I think talent level, I think the consensus would be that everyone wants Joey Porter Jr., right? But I don't think he's going to be there at 38.
I don't either.
I think he'll go maybe one of the first couple picks tonight.
Really?
So yeah, I think so. But Ringo's a great pick, man, and there's also some other needs that we have too. So you could go and get the guy out of Iowa, maybe in the third round, something like that.
Oh yeah. What was it? Oh shoot,
Riley
Moss.
Yeah.
Moss. That's right.
Riley
Yeah, because they were like, you got Moss. They were doing that earlier today.
Yeah. So I like that guy too. So
and he's a ball hawk. He's a hawk, but he's a ball hawk, dude.
Yeah.
I mean,
He's a
big
stud.
time. Yeah.
So that's, obviously Porter, that's, I would love, it'd be a dream to get him, but like I said, I don't think he's going to be available.
So there's a lot of big names on this list. I'm going to throw back over to QB Jeff. Let me see if there's any group of 5 guys. Let's see. So we got, of course, you got Levis is still in there. Michael Mayer's in there. Joey Porter. Brian Branch. Okay, that's an interesting one too. If we don't go corner, Brian Branch at Alabama playing safety, pairing him up back there with Merrick, I think that would be solid, because you talk about solidifying. The Raiders have been really criticized this past really handful of years about just being weak up the middle.
Yeah.
Middle linebacker, defensive tackle, safety, we've just been kind of weak. A pairing with Brian Branch and Trayvon Merrick back there, is that as effective as getting one of these top corners that's out there?
I think the corners I think is a little bit bigger of a need. Having Merrick back there, he's a pretty good cover guy. So, I'm not going against, getting another safety. I just think
we got Marcus Epps too.
Yeah.
We got in the
that's right. Yeah, we can't forget that. Yeah, good call. Good call.
So, if Porter happens to fall, I think we got to take him. I love the bigger long-armed corners, and that's kind of the trend that the NFL is going nowadays. So Porter at 6'3", he can run, he can press, he can do it all. So if he's there, I take him. Julius Brents out of Kansas State, he's another guy, 6'3", long. And everybody in the FC West throws the ball all over the yard, right? We got to have some corners that can cover these big guys too. So I think there's plenty of talent in this second round that's worth grabbing one of these top corners. And then I think there are some pretty good prospects, even a group of 5 guy a little bit later, that if he's around, you could grab, and J.L. Skinner out of Boise State. So we'll see if he's around. But I think we go cornerback second round, and we got to get a linebacker, I feel like, in the third.
Yeah, we got to get linebackers, man. Absolutely. Yeah. What do we have, 1 on the roster? We have Mickey Spillane or whatever that guy's name is. You know what I mean?
I think 2 maybe, I think, is on the roster right now.
Oh, yeah, because Luke Masterson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
We're very shallow in the middle. So at some point, we got to address that.
Absolutely. So there's one group of 5 guy left out of this top 25. And now this is ESPN ranking. So take it for what it is. I'm sure if I talk to you and your guys, you'd have other players that get overlooked because of the conference they play in.
Yeah.
That should be on the list. But Cody Mock is the only one that's on here, the offensive tackle out of North Dakota State.
Yeah.
This is the dude with no front teeth and the long red hair.
Nice.
Dude,
That's a Raider pick.
100%, dude.
Yeah.
I think that'd be a fun pick. Do you think? I mean, because look, he's a tackle.
Yeah.
So I mean, we need a tackle. We kind of need a guard. Like, I mean, we got a Luminor. I mean, of course, Dylan Parham last year, who's very versatile as well.
Yeah.
But there's talks that he can maybe kick in and start playing center, and we move on from Andre James at some point. Like, what do you think in there? You think we go offensive line, or are we just going to be defense until maybe later in the draft?
I hope we go defense in the beginning and then fill in with some later picks down the road. I don't think we go that high offensive tackle unless there's just a guy that they absolutely love and he's a can't miss pick. But I mean, I just think we need so much help. We were the 25th, I believe, ranked defense last year, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
We got to get better on that side of the ball. We have to. I mean, I don't care who's at quarterback. If you have a 25th ranked defense, it's going to be impossible to outscore 28, 29 points a game. It's just so difficult, especially in the AFC West. So I hope we stay defense in the beginning. We got a couple rounds in the middle of this thing where we got 2 picks, per round. So we'll see what they do. But I think we go defense in the beginning, and then if there's some value picks in the mid to late rounds, that's where you can snag a guy. And there's some really good talent that I don't think a lot of people know about that you can grab a little bit later.
So Swaggo, so who do you think we, not player wise, but it's funny. So speaking of that, let me say this real quick. It's so funny. So, and I don't begrudge anybody for doing mock drafts and all that kind of stuff. The pros do it. The amateurs do it. Everybody's all about their mock drafts. But every single year, and this is the reason that I don't do them. I mean, I'll dabble around on like a website or two just for the heck of it or whatever. But I don't publish anything or promote anything or whatever. I just like whatever. But it's so funny because every single year they get blown up in like the first 3 picks.
Oh, for sure.
Like one Texans trade, all of a sudden everybody's mock draft is shit. You know what I mean? Like, it's so funny to me because it's like you can't predict the future. You can't predict where this stuff is going to go. So instead of trying to look at like player wise, I try to like get in my brain kind of like what we're already doing now, where the Raiders are going to go position wise. Because I think that's a little more sound. And that's why some of these most recent Raider drafts have been a little off-putting. Was that we've been like, well, we need whatever, I don't know, we need a cornerback, and then we go reach for a tackle out of Alabama. Like, whatever, that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Sure. So tonight, we've got, as I said earlier, we've got number 38, number 70, and number 100.
Right.
We've established corner. A likely play. What do you think the other 2 positions that I guess we kind of stepped into linebacker a little bit.
Linebacker and tackle for sure. But it still would not shock me to see us take a quarterback.
See, that's where I'm wondering, man.
I just,
when you got hold on, and I'm not interrupting you. I'm going to feed you here. All right, so still on the board, Will Levis is there.
No.
You know who else is on there?
Hendon Hooker.
Hendon freaking Hooker is on there.
That's my dude.
I mean, I could see it, man. Those are the 2 big prospects, but that's before we get into his guys.
Well, exactly.
The Jake Hainers of the world and all that.
And that's where you see. So I think, so yesterday you got to see most all those quarterbacks that, or teams that needed a quarterback, they went and got their guy.
Because franchise quarterback's the number one most important thing.
Exactly. So now it's, the people ahead of us, there's really not a whole lot of teams that need a quarterback. I don't know. I can't, because we're picked 38. So I think we're the 7th pick in the second round or whatever.
Yeah. And I think we're the same across each round, right?
Okay. Yeah. So I don't know. So I think that both Levis and Hooker will be there. So if that's the case, do they go Hooker? Do they go Levis? Whatever. I don't know. I could totally see them doing that. I hope it's not the case. I would love to see them get a group of 5 guy in the later rounds, a Jake Hainer, someone like that can, grow under Jimmy Garoppolo instead of a guy that's got to come in to replace Jimmy Garoppolo on week 4 or whatever. So, so I don't know. But you know, I mean, whoever it is, I'm going to love it. So whatever.
All right, QB Jeff. So let me ask you, and I am going to put you on the spot because you are a pro in this stuff. All right. So after tonight, so say today we go cornerback, we go linebacker, maybe interior line, something like that. Or maybe even two linebackers. There's BJ Olari is out there. Trenton Simpson out of Clemson is out there. There's some good linebackers in this.
Yep.
All right. So say we just stick to all defense today. If the Raiders are going to pull a quarterback later, if we don't go Levis or Hooker for the reasons that like Jeff was talking about there, because we're not going to draft a guy that we need to start right away because we got Jimmy G to mentor. So we've got 1, 2, 3 5th-round picks, 2 6s, and 2 7s. Aside from Jake Haener, who for the obvious reasons is a lot of people's favorites. Who else in the group of 5? Quarterback wise is out there because I remember and listen, this is why we have Jeff in. Last year when you were in here, I asked you the same question and you said, I know I really like that Bailey Zappi kid out of Western Kentucky, set the college records for touchdowns and yardage and blah blah blah. And you were like, because ball is ball. It doesn't matter where you play. You still got to throw it. You still got to get it to a spot. You still got to read a defense. Yep. You still got to do all that stuff. And so those things as quarterbacks tend to translate. Look at but a lot of the top quarterbacks in the NFL, or at least the handful of them, came out of small schools. Josh Allen. Yep. You know what I mean? So and you throw Derek Carr in there. Like there's significant quarterbacks that come out of the group of 5. Anyway, so who else besides Jake Haener is out there?
Yeah, and to your point, Bailey Zappi, Mac Jones got hurt last year for the Patriots, and what happened? Bailey Zappi goes in and wins like 3 or 4 games, or
balling out too.
Yeah. Doing very well. So. But yeah, obviously Jake Haener at Fresno State, he's a smaller guy, but he's got a ton of experience. I love quarterbacks, especially that have a lot of experience. Now, that's not to say if for some reason Hooker is hanging around in that 3rd round, I'd be okay if you take a risk in a 3rd round on a guy like that because he has a lot of upside. Now, I'm not good with it like Anthony Richardson going in the 1st round. You know what I'm saying? So it's all about where you
that's
are.
That's a total crapshoot.
Yeah, 100%. I think Hooker's a crapshoot. Not worth the 1st round. 2nd, to me, is a little dicey. Now, you get into the 3rd, I could see you taking a risk on a guy who's got great physical tools, great upside. You know, he just needs some more work and some more experience. But then if you're talking about you get into the 4th and 5th round, that's where you're looking at these group of 5 guys. Jake Haener, Clayton Tune out of Houston. I love Clayton Tune.
Yeah, for sure.
6'2", 220, has all the stats in the world the last couple of years, especially last year. He was, he runs a 4.6 40, so he's very mobile. He can get out and run. He had over 4,000 yards last year, 40 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. And he had a QBR of 158.9. Now, their excuses like, he played in the American Conference. They don't play anybody. Well, he did everything he was supposed to do against the teams that he did. And if you look who was in the American, Tulane. Guess who Tulane beat last year in the bowl game? USC. So you can't sit here and say they don't play anybody. Like, they play plenty of good guys that go into the NFL that are starting on NFL rosters.
USC's darling Caleb Williams that 100%. Everyone in the world is in love with.
Absolutely. So I love Clayton Tune out of Houston. Jake Haener would be great in the late round. Both, they can sit. They can have some time to develop under a Jimmy G. So either one of those guys. But if Hooker is hanging around in the 3rd, I would be okay with taking a shot on him in the 3rd because we got 2 picks in the 3rd, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah. What if? Because my thought is, what if we package a couple of our 3rd round picks, maybe even a 4th with it, and trade back up into the 2nd round late? So say because yesterday I was thinking that the Vikings were going to take Hooker at 20.
Well, and there was supposedly there was 3 teams trying to get back into the 1st round, and we were one of them.
And we were one of them. So, so do you package up 2 3rd rounds and trade back up late into the 2nd to maybe grab a Hooker or something? You know what I mean? It's possible too.
It's possible. There'd have to be somebody that they just absolutely love that they want to go get. And I mean, who knows in that room? That if they got their eye on somebody, I don't have anybody still that's like out there. It's like, we got to go get this guy. I think there's plenty of talent at the linebacker and corner position in the 2nd and 3rd round where we could be fine and not give up an extra pick to go get somebody, but they're the experts. So quote unquote.
Yeah.
So we'll see what they do.
So let me ask you, Jeff, on that. So you mentioned, like, if we do draft like a Clayton Tune or one of these group of 5 guys later on in the draft, and they come in and they sit behind Jimmy G for a year to develop. When you say develop, is it because, like you said, they've already got the experience in college, so they've obviously got the arm talent, they got the mobility, they got it. So I guess I have two things that I'm wondering: is it reading defenses, or is it also getting used to NFL speed? Because that's always the big knock, is that, well, the SEC quarterbacks are playing against SEC teams, so everyone's bigger, faster, stronger. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so that's always the knock against the group of five guys, and especially like as amazing as Cincinnati was a couple years ago, they got throttled by the freaking Wolverines in the bowl game, and everybody was like, yeah, because they hadn't played anybody that was that big and fast and strong and all that. So, and that's not me dogging the conference, but is that what it is? Is that it's just is it an intangible thing that they can't get to the experience of, or is it actual development of the player themselves?
No, I think it's the development of the players, and that goes with everybody. Very few guys. There's a handful of them that come in every year that are plug and play, and they just went on at any position, but especially at the quarterback position, the speed is at another level, and then the coverage recognition. Defenses in the NFL disguise coverage is so much better than college guys do, because they are so much faster, they are so much more intelligent, that they can sit longer in what they're trying to disguise
I got you.
and then get to where they actually need to be. And then plus you got these guys coming off the edge that are just so much better than the talent you see from a defensive end or defensive tackle coming at you. So it's just live bullets, just getting in there and being able to recognize everything at just quicker. Everything has to be quicker. The ball's got to come out quicker. You got to know what they're in before the snap of the ball, then confirm it when you get the ball. So, and all that just happens so much faster with bigger guys coming at you, beating your left tackle, and then especially in this offense, you got to be able to check the plays and get into the right play when McDaniels calls the wrong one. So that's a big thing too. But that goes for every position.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to have time to adjust. And we've seen it in the past when these rookies go into the NFL and they have to start right away. More times than not, it does not work out for
Peyton
him.
Manning set the interception record his rookie year. Right. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah, and Peyton Manning, to his credit, is just so mentally tough. Like, most of those guys get mentally crushed, and then
Ryan
they
Leaf
can't come back, and they're done.
Keep it in the same draft.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So to have the benefit to kind of sit behind, learn the playbook, get those reps in spring training, get those reps in practice, and then the preseason, and then then go from there. So
that way that you're developing, and you're not costing your team football games.
Yeah.
In your development and getting defeated and losing confidence and all those. Okay, I got you.
And you're in the NFL. Like, it's a huge stage, man. Like, you're not at your college anymore, regardless of what the college is. Like, you get smoked in the NFL. Like, you have every news organization that's saying that you're not good enough to be there, and a lot of guys just can't handle that.
19 podcasts and Twitter and everything else going at you.
What I'm saying? So they just mentally can't handle it, and then they go down and they can't ever get back. So I just think it's beneficial if you can sit a year or two or half, whatever it is, and just get those extra reps.
All right, good stuff there, man. Good stuff. Give it up for QB Jeff, man.
Hey.
Appreciate it.
Good stuff. Good stuff. All right, Swag Jeff.
Yes.
I'm going to put you on the spot.
Great.
You love this shit. Josh Jacobs is getting in his feelings today.
He's in his feels.
Again. Are we going to trade him before this draft is over? If you were a betting man, well, not if, because you're a betting man, if you had to bet your mortgage on whether Josh Jacobs is going to be a Raider next year or not, which way are you going?
I don't think so. It's looking less and less that way, because there's only so much pettiness I feel like the Raiders are going to put up with.
Yep.
And at this point, they're just going to be like, okay, goodbye.
Send him somewhere for a fourth.
Maybe.
You know what? That's what I'm wondering, because if this thing, and I know I asked you the question, so I don't want to take over the conversation, but like he's talking about never going back to Vegas, and who knows he's the king of these veiled messages. But if it gets to the point where he's not willing to sign his tender, and he's even flirting with the idea of sitting out, because here's the thing, The Raiders have all the cards. The Raiders have all the freaking.
Yeah. And we can trade him even if he doesn't sign the thing, right?
We have the rights to his contract.
That's what Michael Rohr in the chat was saying. We can't trade him because he hasn't.
Because he hasn't signed his
I don't
franchise
know how
tag.
that works.
Well,
I'm
but
not sure.
so we could do like a sign in. That's what it would be. It would be like a sign in trade. But you could still do it. We could say like,
Yeah,
hey,
you
we're
have
going
to
to
be
trade
able
you.
to get rid of him.
We're gonna trade you to whoever, and then to the Eagles, or not the Eagles now, but like I don't know, the Bills, and then they can rework your contract or whatever. But anyways, I think that, and I appreciate that Michael Rohr in there for that clarification. I just think that it's going to get to the point because of what Jeff just said. This regime doesn't tolerate bullshittiness for long.
Yeah.
That's ask Darren Waller.
Ask Darren Waller. They don't want drama in this building. Look, why did we pass on Jalen Carter?
Yeah.
Because there's extra shit. There's some extra mustard on that. We don't need that right now.
Yeah.
We need the safe pick, and that's why we got Tyree Wilson, who is elite. But they don't have time for that shit. So so Josh can do what he does and all that stuff.
I think we've had enough drama the last couple of years.
Like, dude,
be all right without a little bit of it.
Can't we all just get along?
Well, and not only do the Raider and there's a few folks clarifying in there. Raider Roo said as well, can't trade him until he signs a tag, so we won't be traded during the draft. Thank you for that. And I don't know what the logistics are of him signing it. Like, if he signed it today, could we trade him by tomorrow? I don't know, whatever. But I think it's the more concept of the questioning was, will this get to a point that the Raiders just are sick of screwing with it and just decide to do something else? Because what's the alternative? What's he gonna do? Sit out? Like, you're gonna go.
You're gonna waste a year of your youth and your window of being a running back because you're sad sacking.
And he's not even like he's not getting paid. I know that players get in their feelings because of the franchise tag, but he's like, what did Miles Sanders sign for? Coming off of his career year,
4-year, $25 million.
There you go. And Josh Jacobs is scoffing at $10 million bucks. Like,
yeah, come on, man.
I don't get it, man. I just don't understand it. But all right, all right, so this thing's getting ready to kick off here, so we'll let you go, Raider Nation. But I do want to highlight one last thing before I send it over to the two Jeffs to close us out. Here's what I think is so cool about yesterday. Anybody that is feeling any certain kind of way about Tyree Wilson, everything that we talked about tonight, and especially the stuff that the Jeffs had to say, and about the addition to and how it's going to help the other guys that are on that line. Max Crosby already has most career quarterback hits over Khalil Mack. He has 3 tackles for loss. He has 3 tackles for loss behind Khalil Mack for first. He's top 10 in forced fumbles. He's 70 sacks from the Raiders' record set by Greg Townsend. Coupling these two guys together, if Tyree Wilson is, I don't know, 80% of the player, 70% of the player that we think that he can be, we're going to get after the damn quarterback. But I think he's going to be better than that. The odds are to win Defensive Rookie of the Year. Will Anderson is a 3-1 shot. He's the favorite. Right behind him is Jalen Carter. And then who do you want to guess is right after that?
Right.
Wilson.
Tyree Wilson. He's a 7-1 favorite. That's Vegas talking. And Vegas, there's a reason they got all them pretty lights out there, because they make money. When we look at the edge defenders, the best of the best that are currently in the NFL, and stack them up to the last 2 edge defenders that were drafted first in the first round, we're talking Trayvon Walker, of course, who was drafted last year, number 1 overall by the Jaguars. And then Tyree Wilson, who's now drafted by the Raiders. I'm not a big fan of PFF grades because it doesn't count for heart and work ethic and a lot of other things. But when you look at the PFF grades, the top 9, so let's see, I'm going to give you the top 7 guys in the NFL, okay? And then 8 and 9 are Tyree Wilson and Trayvon Walker.
Okay.
So Trayvon Walker would be number 9. So again, I'm taking all the elite edge defenders in the NFL and then adding the 2 most recent ones that are drafted, okay? Trayvon Walker's PFF grade is 65.3, okay? So he's number 9. Tyree Wilson is right above him at 75.2. You guys want to guess on who all these other guys are? This is the company that this guy is in now in terms of PFF grade, so take it for what it is. But give best
just from last year.
Just best edge defenders that are in the league right now.
Like
one of them plays for us.
Max Crosby.
There you go. Max Crosby is number 7 on your list.
Okay. Would you go like Myles Garrett?
Myles Garrett is number 1 on the list. There you
Okay.
go. And I actually, I did leave one name out. Will Anderson Jr. is also on this list, who was also drafted. Of course, he was the edge player drafted ahead of Tyree Wilson this year. He is number 5 on your list. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4 guys left. 2 of them are brothers.
Oh, JJ and TJ Watt?
Close.
Bosa.
TJ Watt is 1, and the Bosas are the Bosas are number 2 and number 3, and then Montez Sweat is number 6. So, so there you go. So look, this is the company that Tyree Wilson is in. Is with Myles Garrett, Nick Bosa, Joey Bosa, TJ Watt, Will Anderson Jr., Montez Sweat, Max Crosby himself, and then Trayvon Walker. So
There you go.
There you go.
And so, also talking about the edges right here, Raider Dank Vader in there just said that that today the Raiders restructured Chandler Jones's contract, freeing up $5 million in cap space.
Oh, there we
there
go.
you go.
Good
I
stuff
like
there.
it. I like it, and I like the
Good
idea
stuff, Raider
of
Dank
Chandler
Vader.
Jones. And we've already talked about Chandler Jones, but I was too busy listening to QB Jeff that I didn't say anything. But
you had hearts in your eyes.
yeah. Well, no, it's great stuff. But Chandler Jones, I like the idea of Chandler Jones being the rotational piece.
Yeah.
You know, let him shine in certain moments and certain situations where you're not leaning on that guy to come play 3 downs.
Yeah.
Every drive. A 3 down kind of guy. You bring that guy in on first down, help with the run, stuff like that. Because he had his moments where even though his stats weren't showing that, he was making impacts on the field.
That's what you listen to. Like Max Crosby will tell you. Like
Crosby said
Chandler
that all
played
the
great.
time. Yeah,
he just didn't have the numbers.
Well, in the last couple games of last season, when Chandler was hurt, you saw that Max was struggling a lot more than what he had to. So you're like, wow, maybe Chandler was making a difference. So to see him as a rotational piece, I think that's fantastic. Some people said, wow, we drafted Tyree Wilson to be a rotational guy. No, he's our friggin' starter. Like Chandler.
No, and like Jeff was talking about, he might be playing inside.
That's true
Like,
too.
It's 6'6", 270. You could easily put that guy inside.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And he's strong and he's more athletic than some of the guards are in space. So there's a lot of opportunity here that they can go, different routes that they can go. And I do like that. Bring in Chandler Jones as a 3rd down rusher, move Tyree inside.
There you go.
Now he's fresh as a daisy, as they say, to come off the edge.
There you go. I love it. I love it.
All right, Raider Nation, we'll see. So we are on pick number 2 now. So we'll check back in with you probably by the time we get to like number 6. We'll check back in. We're going to do little mini shows all night long. So we're going to look for 4 of those, or excuse me, 3 of those. Probably 3. Yeah, we'll do one for the second, and then the 2 third-round picks, and then we'll button it up after that. So stay with us tonight. Love you guys so much, and we'll see you in a little bit.
See you. Bye.
I suppose I should take off the starting soon.